My boy Tom Dark's got some stuff to say. What's really killing Twitch? I think I know. It's in the thumbnail that you can't see. Hassan Piker. Yes, that it's true. Of course it is. Because he's terrorism adjacent. He platforms terrorists and defends them and then says that they are not. Let's see if he's going to bring up some examples here. Probably help if I turn the sound on.
Twitch is currently on fire right now with a bunch of massive advertisers pulling out, creators reporting that the revenue has dropped by 80%, and even potential. Twitch is currently on fire right now with a bunch of massive advertisers pulling out, creators reporting that the revenue has dropped by 80%, and even potential congressional hearings.
You even got creators lying about it and saying it's not happening, even though it actually is happening to them. They're just saying that so they can pretend that it's not happening, because they think that if we keep saying it's not happening, then it's not happening. Pirate software. I thought he was cool until I found out that he was an insane leftist and went to pedo sky or blue sky, whatever you want to call it.
Hearings on the subject in the future. A lot of the top streamers are at each other's throats right now as well, trying to play the blame game, saying, what really caused the boycott? Was it this guy? Was it this guy? And right now, the people blaming each other really are Hassan and Asmongold. Obviously, Asmongold has a more right-leaning perspective these days. He's more on that side, at least more than Hassan. And Hassan is obviously very far left.
Yeah, more than Hassan. Asmongold's still on the left. He's like almost aligns with me. Almost. And I'm on the left. We are leftists. Technically, we are on the left. It's ridiculous that people call us right-wing. We're more anarchist, which is on the left.
So they're going to be at each other's throats a lot. But in particular, they are really going at each other right now.
I just want you to understand, by the way, when Asmongold is making threats like this is the result, okay? When you partner up with cynical fucking assholes who just simply want to see the fucking world burn, and they force platforms who are terrified of offending anyone, okay? Even if their purpose is utterly and so clearly to troll, okay? Platforms that turn around and capitulate and cave against that sort of thing.
Cry more about it. Cry more. You're just upset that your platform's crumbling because you put terrorists on your platform.
Are gonna hurt other content creators, you know?
Fuck them. Fuck them. Expand your horizons. Get off of Twitch. Go somewhere else. Twitch is garbage.
Clearly is like one of the biggest proponents of this. I would say he is the biggest proponent to a lot of the contention around the, you know, quote, adpocalypse. He's the main reason why this is, like 90% of the examples that are being used are him. Like, or maybe not 90, it might be 80, 70%, but it's like the majority of all examples on the entire platform are all Hassan. So yeah, very clearly, this is the reason why it's happening. Now, you can say that it's unfair, but that's fine. That's okay.
Guess what? Life isn't fair.
But you can't say it's not happening, or that's not the reason.
It's pretty amusing watching these guys go at each other, these two monolithic streamers, and they're kind of acting like school children. They're like, no, it was him. It was him, I swear it was him. It wasn't me. You think little old me could do something like this?
But Asmongold is more right. He is more correct than Hassan. Because at least Asmon isn't putting terrorists on his show and then pretending like they are not. And I've seen this guy, this Houthi guy.
I've just been here sitting on the playground, messing around with the wood chips, wearing my propeller hat, sucking on my massive lollipop. I could not have done this. The adpocalypse overall has been a very messy and convoluted situation to a lot of people on the outside who are just seeing it, being like, why the fuck is Twitch falling off right now? And so the natural question of anyone who has a basic understanding of what Twitch is what is killing Twitch? Is it the Cockroach King? Is it Hassan? Could it have been the Clintons? Was it the Bogendorfs? Was it the Bilderbergs? Was this all their plan from the start? And how did
I can tell you whose fault it actually is Twitch's for banning the wrong people and then not banning the other people that should have been banned. Like, get the stuff with Dr. Disrespect. Ever since then, it's just all tumbled downhill. I even bought into that shit. Everybody bought into it. Now, I think I'm on board with Dr. Disrespect. He's got me streaming on Rumble now because he's going to be on Rumble next week.
How does this fit into our grand narrative about the world? Is this
And if you don't like me because I suddenly have liked liked. I still don't like him. He's still a piece of shit, garbage human, and he's an actor. But if you think that I'm garbage for liking Dr. Disrespect now, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
That's why Hassan said what he said about 9/11.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
We're there to partner with them.
There it is, right there. That's all I needed to hear. But Asmongold gets banned. Okay.
Them. We're not there doing our own thing. We're there partnering and training.
In a video
and
game.
equipping.
Well, a little bit of a spoiler alert here, in case any of you are out of the loop. It's Hassan. Hassan is the reason for the adpocalypse. Well, mostly Hassan. It's more like Hassan, all of his little cohorts, his collaborative streamers, his peers, and the significant amount of Hassan Piker meat riders that work at Twitch, including the CEO, Dan Clancy. About a month ago,
I think that's the biggest problem. The gooner Dan Clancy, the degenerate Dan Clancy, who is really good friends with Hassan, watches Hassan all the time. And if he's not watching Hassan, he's watching all the titty streamers that everybody hates on Twitch. That people have left because of that. Some of the biggest people on the platform have left literally because of the titty streamers.
I made a video going into detail about all the fun antics Hassan has been up to, but for those of you who want the Spark Notes version, Hassan has called non-Zionist Jewish people inbred, as well as saying that the riots on October 7th didn't happen, but if they did, it doesn't really matter because whatever.
What did Hezbollah do? Bro, what did Hamas do? What are you talking about? Like, there is one instance in captivity that we have actually gotten verifiable evidence on. Beyond that, the systematized mass that Hamas dealt on October 7, not a single bit of that has been verified. And people still run with...
What is he talking about, bro? What is he talking about? He's just making stuff up. And the people in his chat aren't going to look that up. They're just going to take it at face value from him. Because they're retarded too.
With it over and over and over again. Meanwhile, we know Israel has done it.
Let's take a step back. October 7, 1,200 people were massacred. Many young people who were simply attending a music festival. Women were horribly raped. As I said then, I say today, Israel had a right.
How do you dismiss accounts of kerosene and burning, but not dismiss sexual violence? What do you mean? Because one, there is no evidence whatsoever for one. It is completely and utterly made up. But there is a likelihood for the other, and also evidence as far...
Am I brain rotting? Am I actually hearing that right?
as first-hand testimony from a hostage. The fuck?
He's also openly endorsed multiple terrorist organizations, which, I'm not gonna lie, is pretty funny. I think it is funny. The problem is that he actually likes them and wants them to kill people. He literally endorsed an organization whose motto is death to America, death to Israel, a curse upon the Jews. Terrorist witch doctor over here. There are too many clips to count of Hassan being crazy, but you get the idea. He's not even just a terrorist sympathizer, he's a terrorist supporter, and I can see why people would think that he is, you know, pushing a lot of crazy shit, because
I think that all of that makes him a terrorist leader.
frankly, I think that, and we all know it. If you want more detail, you can feel free to check out my video on him, or there's also a website that's been created called danclancysucks.com that goes over it all. But Hassan's...
If they don't do something about this whole Hassan situation, they need to go in there and remove everybody from Twitch. Not even just burn the company down. They need to remove everybody from it and bar them from it. And a lot of people need to be put in fucking prison for threatening America. Like, you shouldn't be living here if you're chanting death to America.
craziness is not the only thing going on. A few months ago at TwitchCon, in front of a crowd of people, a panel of Hassan meat riders made an Arab Jew tier list where Arab was at the top and Sabra, which is a kosher dip that's very popular among Jewish people in Israel, was at the bottom. Obviously, you know, implying that Jews in Israel are lesser than Arabs. H3H3, a well-known YouTube rabbi and comedian, also is a very outspoken Jewish anti-Zionist guy, and he was labeled at the very bottom of this graph with people on the panel suggesting that they need a lower tier for Zionists Zionist.
See, that's based.
We need to put it in Love Sabra.
Yeah,
I know the other people are in there derogatory, but he's in there just like neutral.
Yeah, Jinxie loves Sabra, not derogatory.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Mike.
He's like, no, I really fuck with Sabra. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That's why we put you on the Sabra category. Sabra's not hummus.
Now, this was an official Twitch event that was fully cleared and endorsed by Twitch and its staff. And I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here on the politics because honestly, I could give less of a fuck about the Israel-Palestine conflict. I just think that, you know, war bad or whatever. Hot take, I guess. I don't like to see people dying. I don't like cheering on people dying. But
I know who Tom Dark voted for.
what I will say is that whatever side of the spectrum you're on, this looks really bad. This looks really bad to advertisers. It looks bad to normal people. Anybody who isn't politically brain rotted to a crazy extent sees this and is like, I want nothing to do with these guys. And these panels are always pre-screened beforehand. And this was a sponsored panel from companies like Chevron, Capcom, and Samsung. Some very, very, very big companies that obviously are not going to feel comfortable being around this kind of thing. And around this same exact time, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit, who I would say are some of the most prolific, actually hateful content creators. And I don't say that lightly, you know, you guys know. I think a lot of shit is funny, but goes a little far maybe when it's like Sneeko arguing in favor of getting rid of the age of consent. That's
I don't think any of that's real though. I think Sneeko is playing a character. I don't think Hassan is playing a character. I don't think Sneeko actually has any values. I think Hassan is straight up a terrorist.
probably bad. But these guys were unbanned on Twitch. Keep in mind, no other notorious streamers were unbanned, only these two. So if it wasn't already obvious, Twitch has openly endorsed Hassan and his friends. Everyone in the Hassan orbit, like Rogan and Denims, have been boosted. They've been put on Twitch's front page, and they receive a crazy amount of favoritism and astroturfing from Twitch themselves. Hassan, meanwhile, is an untouchable figurehead that Twitch will never punish, no matter how crazy he acts. He is their golden boy and a core representative of the values of the people working there. I mean, the CEO, Dan Clancy, has hung out with Hassan several times.
Man, I watched those Twitch awards. They were fake as fuck. They were so fake. There were people up there that you knew. You knew that they were in cahoots with the Twitch staff. Like Flogan, I like to call her.
He's done a bunch of events with him, and he also opened.
Nobody knew who Flogan was. Frogan. Flogan is what I call her. Nobody knew who she was. And she still won the best upcoming streamer. I know so many streamers who should have got that. That was a rigged award. The whole thing was rigged.
Openly talked about how he loves Hassan's bluntness, which I guess is one way of putting it. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is when our story really begins, because we have to introduce another rabbi known as Dan Saltman. He's a rabbi, he's a Rust player, he's a landlord, he's the owner of Redact.dev, and he saw all this going down, and he decided to investigate what was really happening on Twitch. Now, and
he did it on Twitch, though. You can't be investigating Twitch on Twitch.
To be noted here that Dan obviously has a bit of a bias against Hassan because Dan is friends with Destiny, and Destiny hates Hassan for reasons even outside of his politics. It's just like there is a personal beef going on there. But Dan around this time created a website called DanClancySucks.com way before this controversy started originally to just show Twitch's double standard when it came to the leeway. They allowed Hassan and all the shit they allowed him to get away with, and then the shit they didn't allow anyone else to get away with. Hassan, for some reason, is considered a protected class on Twitch above all others. He will never be banned despite obviously breaking the TOS time and time again. Now, Twitch's CEO, Dan Clancy, who I'll now refer to as Clancy to avoid any confusion, had also been under fire for months before by Dan, and Dan wanted him to step down as CEO. He thought he was a horrible CEO, and this isn't just a thing that Dan has been saying. Keep in mind, a lot of people have talked about how bad of a CEO Dan Clancy is. Twitch's prior CEO was somebody who didn't even understand streaming as a concept. He didn't really get it. He didn't really care about it. Dan Clancy does get streaming as a concept, but maybe too much. There's been a lot of reports that
yeah, because he's a disgusting gooner. Everything he watches is just like titty stream, titty stream, titty stream, titty stream.
Never even in the office, that he's never even attending to the day-to-day operations. Instead, he's constantly flying out of town to hang out with various streamers and go to their streamer events and parties. And while it's important to connect with these streamers on the ground level, at the same time you are the CEO of a company, you need to be back at, base camp handling operations. But the next bombshell that Dan Saltman, the rabbi, managed to drop on Dan Clancy, the CEO, would really change the game. Over a year ago, specifically on the Global Day of Jihad, Twitch secretly placed a ban on the entire country of Israel without saying anything. If you were a citizen of Israel and tried signing up, you would get a vague error message and just nothing else. This was never put
because they call us Nazis. But they're the actual Nazis, that even to the point where they hate Jews. It's insane. It's crazy. It's so crazy. It's crazy to the point where it's hilarious to me. And I hope that they all lose everything.
Put into place for any other country. Now, obviously, there's a lot of questions about why they did this. Did they do it because there was an active war going on and they didn't want people to be streaming combat footage, which would be fair? Well, that does not seem to be the case because in Ukraine, Russia, Yemen, Rwanda, and the Congo, a bunch of places where a lot of conflicts have happened over the past while, Twitch did literally zero banning. They did not ban anyone from posting. And it was actually confirmed with 100% certainty that Twitch had in fact banned all new email signups from Israel. So this stuff started getting really big on Twitter. All of the Jewish organizations were posting about it, and as a result, Dan Clancy, the CEO himself, would initially respond after the massive backlash. We wanted to address some concerns we've seen about whether we're preventing Twitch account signups in some regions. When signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email or phone, for added protection. Following the October 7th, 2023 attacks, we temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine. We did this to prevent uploads of graphic material.
Wrong. They did not for Palestine. Or whatever. Palestine isn't a real fucking place, by the way. But they didn't. They let people make accounts and use them who were in Palestine
related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. Signups were not disabled, and we continued to see signups from both regions. Users could choose to sign up with phone verification, but we've learned that inadvertently, we did not re-enable email verification signups for either region. We deeply regret this unacceptable miss and the confusion it has caused. We fixed the issue, meaning all affected users can sign up with email verification. We've also heard concerns about whether our community guidelines apply to all content on our service. We continue to enforce our rules as consistently as possible and are actively reviewing content and taking enforcement action where needed. Now, the problem with this is that this is a lie. Quite literally a lie. Bold-faced lie. Even the community note under the tweet is calling the statement a lie, okay? And I find community notes cringe. They're pretty Reddit sometimes, but this one is true, okay? This whole statement is a lie. Both email and phone signups were disabled. While this was happening, the most popular political streamer on their platform was cheering on, spreading terrorist propaganda, and apologetics on stream. And all of that is 1000% true. And not only that, but Hassan has covered plenty of war footage and gotten away with it on stream, which, to be clear, I think he should be able to. But the idea that they're banning these countries from email signups so that they can prevent war footage from being released on Twitch is ridiculous because...
Yeah, and then they ban Asmongold for hate speech, but they don't ban Hassan Piker for literally saying death to America or America deserved 9/11. Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? I think Twitch should be banned from everything. They need to just get it off the app stores if that's how they want to play it.
There's people watching war footage on Twitch right now. And this is really what lit the fuse and got Dan to go into full crusade mode against Twitch, demanding that their CEO, Dan Clancy, step down, demanding that Hassan be banned, and demanding that their trust and safety team be entirely restructured. He would start doing live streams, compiling everything he had found, all the crazy moments from Hassan, all of the misconduct from Twitch. He was bringing it all out. It's kind of insane the amount of work that one guy was able to get done just by tweeting and getting the word out. So people would start sending him info to further the investigation, and some of the stuff that came out is pretty insane. I'm not gonna lie. It is pretty nuts. For instance, Twitch's director of trust and safety was found to have been fired for her previous job for anti-Semitism allegations. These posts were apparently so severe that their place of work was called out in front of the British Parliament and requested to be investigated. Keep in mind, this is the same exact person that was in charge of banning, appeals, and user reports at Twitch. And all these user reports were apparently going to Egypt, which has a 95% unfavorable view of Jews over there. When the people at your live panels, the people you unban, the people on your staff and trust and safety team, the people you endorse, the people you do events with, and those who represent your entire company as a figurehead are all people who are on record giving sympathy to terrorists, and you're complicit in banning an entire country that makes up 75% of the global population of that one ethnicity, being Jews, which a lot of your associates have been ranting about how much they hate that ethnicity. I think it's not really surprising that a lot of people are calling Twitch anti-Semitic, right?
And terrorist adjacent. If not full-on terrorists at this point.
Whether or not it's an intentional thing, which it rarely is, there's rarely some kind of global conspiracy about these things, right? Whether it's an intentional thing or not, it seems like something really bad is going on at Twitch. And Dan Saltman, the certified rabbi himself, is a coder, a programmer, so he would make websites like twitchorterrorist.com, comparing quotes from Twitch streamers to quotes from actual terrorists to see if people could guess them. Now, over the next few days, massive accounts on Twitter like Stop Anti...
Fun fact, every single one was a Twitch streamer. Not a single one was a terrorist. It was all Twitch streamers.
anti-Semitism would tweet out calling for Dan Clancy to resign from Twitch. And also, the ADL would swoop in, and that would lead to Frogan and Denims getting banned for 30 days for the TwitchCon Sabra incident. Keep in mind, Frogan had recently been under fire for saying that all American soldiers deserve PTSD, as well as trying to get her friends to create a 9/11 cake, which, I mean, that one's kind of funny, you know, in a vacuum. But none of these things got her banned at all. The only—
Yeah, if she wasn't, you know, anti-America and anti-Jew and all that, 9/11 cake would be pretty funny as a joke, but she kind of means it. So, no, not allowed.
The thing that they banned her for was this panel. And Frogan obviously refused to apologize after this ban. 30-day ban for saying people like bottom of the barrel hummus, but other people get 2 weeks for advocating for the genocide of Palestinians? Got it. But this did not stop with the ADL. Oh no, we're just getting started. Somehow, Dan's crusade would get Congressman Richie Torres to write to Twitch and Amazon about how Hassan sucks and is evil. If that is not proof that Hassan is the reason that Twitch is burning right now, I don't know what is. A congressional letter has been sent to the leadership of both Amazon and Twitch to sound the alarm about the amplification of anti-Semitism on Twitch. Hassan Piker, who has described Orthodox Jews as inbred and a Jewish man as a bloodthirsty pig, is the anti-Semitic voice of a systematically anti-Semitic platform led by Dan Clancy. The time has come to hold Hassan Piker and Dan Clancy accountable. And the dude did not stop with that letter either. He kept firing off tweets roasting the shit out of Hassan and trying to spread the message to as many people as possible. This is a United States congressman. This guy is a fucking politician, and he's tweeting about Hassan Piker. What is going on? And coincidentally, around the same time, Hassan would go on to wipe a lot of videos from his channel from the past 2 months. But I'm sure it was just to declutter his homepage. It wasn't for any nefarious reason.
I think the closer and closer we get to the end times, the weirder and crazier it's gonna get. We're not even at the 1% of crazy.
To hide anything. That couldn't be the case. The backlash against Twitch and Hassan has been extremely severe, but that didn't stop other streamers from trying to sweep for him and even insinuate that they had some secret story about Dan Saltzman, the rabbi, behind the scenes being weird to his wife or something. Some like random accusation that has no proof whatsoever.
Have you seen that Destiny's friend Dan is being weird about harassing Hassan? Bro, so weird of him. Don't, you know, it's...
Bruh, so
I don't like the way he treats his wife either, bro. I got stories about everybody. Listen to me when I say this.
Oh, she got stories about how Dan treats his wife, apparently. Apparently? Huh, interesting.
I don't like any of these men. These men, the way they talk about the women in their lives, and like, why don't women like me?
And H3H3 also threw his hat in the ring and officially burnt his bridge with his former co-host Hassan, calling him out on stream and making a follow-up video on YouTube called I Won't Let Hassan Piker Lie About Me to his audience. H3 and Hassan have such a detailed history and relationship. They're kind of like star-crossed lovers who could have their own separate video purely because of how nuts their drama has been. I've done a few in the past, obviously, but a lot has happened since then. But I think what's important to keep in mind here is that Ethan has said several times that he is not a Zionist or a supporter of Israel. He just doesn't want the citizens of Israel to get glassed off the face of the earth, which I think is a relatively fair thing to say. But this apparently was too much of an extreme take for Hassan. This was extremist rhetoric, so that basically led their relationship to crumble and die and burn and die and burn and get to the point where it is today. Hassan would also continue crying on Twitter about Ethan criticizing him. So now it's time to get into the philosophy of this ad boycott, because I am generally against ad boycotts, and I'm even generally against this one, despite the fact that I think if there is an ad boycott, it is technically the most deserved one ever. Dan's philosophy with his crusade was that Twitch was never going to listen to purely public outcry, so the only natural thing that he could do to stop the terrorist propaganda being spread on their site was to target their advertisers. Made a video on what you should do right now.
I think it should be much worse than it is. I do agree with these adpocalypses, because they make great change in these apps, and that a lot of times is severely needed. Like the original adpocalypse from YouTube was caused by Logan Paul making some dumb shit vlog video with a dead body in it. Like, I think that a lot of times they're deserved. I am an anarchist though, so I kind of just like, I like to watch the chaos.
Now, absolutely fuck Twitch for making me do this cancel culture, cuck, fuck, simp, loser shit. I didn't ask to be the Adpocalypse foot soldier henchman. Everything has been tried. They don't care. So name and shame, it's all that's left. Now, a lot of people, including me, disagreed with this strategy because we YouTubers have been down this road before with people like Matt's What It Is starting an ad boycott that affected several creators' income, and they had nothing to do with it, ultimately. And we also have the example back in the day where PewDiePie made some jokes and the Wall Street Journal went after him, and they caused an adpocalypse that affected every creator on the website, and collectively, a lot of YouTubers lost 80% of their income. So we've been down this road before. If we're going to play devil's advocate here, though, or in this case, Dan advocate, this is a different situation than with YouTube. In the case of Matt's what it is, Matt lied about YouTube being in on some grand conspiracy to allow child sex trafficking on their site. But in Twitch's case, there does seem to be some kind of conspiracy to suppress people from Israel from even being able to be on the site. It's literally in their fucking code. And on top of that, Dan Clancy endorses Hassan. Hassan puts terrorist propaganda on his streams. Hassan never gets banned. So it's not a situation where I really feel bad for Twitch. My only concern would be that encouraging a culture of ad boycotts can cause a lot of problems. I've already seen a number of Reddit posts.
The only problem I can think of is that too many happened, and too many happen over time, and they just don't affect anything anymore. And what starts to happen is the ads get replaced with other ads, and then the previous ad people are like, shit, well, we got to get our ads back. That's what's happening on X right now. Everybody's returning to X, and it's given X a major boost. Like Disney went back to X, Walmart, all these companies that dropped their DEI, all back on X.
About how, oh, well, they want to go after Twitch and Hassan. We should go after YouTube for their right-wing content. And encouraging this kind of culture can lead to a retaliation on the other side, where the other side feels justified in a completely unjust ad boycott against YouTube or other platforms that don't deserve it. So that would be my greatest concern, encouraging this kind of culture. And I hope that everybody can see why I feel that way. Now, I did have Dan on my stream.
Yeah, I see why you feel that way, but I think it happens only a few times and then it stops happening.
To elaborate on this point and to make his case, and here's what he said. I feel like this criticism only applies for people who have collaborated with Hassan and support him in any way, which there are a lot of. But if you're somebody who doesn't even like interact with him, you're not a political person, you're not in that community, like you're just doing like, you know, silly like
there are innocent people that will get hurt, but it is only people that get hurt because those who have the ability to make the platform better choose to do nothing. So Pokimane and all these other people who definitely know what's going on and don't say anything because I don't really want to offend my audience, and some of them might be, you know, Palestinian advocates. Okay. What happens is that Twitch has lost 70% of its advertisers over the last week. So, I mean, you could have said something earlier. This has been going on for a while. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. The big streamers had the ability to say something, to do something about seeing an injustice, and they said, oh, I don't want to risk my bag. Well, you doing nothing risked your bag.
Now, whether or not you
that is so true, though. Like, you should have spoke up, but you didn't want to poke the bear. You know? You didn't want to risk all that money. You didn't want to risk the honey. Greedy fucks. Ends up biting you in the ass in the end. Turns out there are bees in that jar, honey.
Agree with his strategy, it is undeniable that it worked. Several massive advertisers would quickly start leaving the platform, and streamers would immediately notice a big cut in revenue. November is supposed to be one of Twitch's biggest months in terms of revenue, because it's the holiday season, and a lot of companies are advertising a lot because people buy a lot of shit during the holidays. But a lot of streamers, like the Stock Guy, reported that their ad revenue was cut by 80%, which is insane. Interestingly, once advertisers started pulling out, Twitch would make a statement about how they had lied earlier. They didn't really acknowledge that they lied, but instead they made an update to their TOS and said that you can no longer use the word Zionist in a derogatory way. As a part of our hateful conduct policy, we prohibit.
They just come up with a different word. That's all they'll do. Or you just don't ban them. Like, it might be in the TOS, but you've shown that you're not banning people that need to be banned when they break the TOS.
The use of terms that may not be harmful or abusive in isolation, but can be used as a slur or to denigrate others in certain contexts. In line with that approach, starting today, using the term Zionist to attack or demean another individual or group of people on the basis of their background or religious belief is against our rules. We recognize that.
But what if Twitch themselves sees the person in question as a Zionist? Then is it justified for them in their eyes? I don't think banning words is the right thing. Like, if your platform is being taken over by terrorists and you don't want people to think your platform is being taken over by terrorists, don't let the platform be taken over by fucking terrorists. It's not that hard. It's pretty easy.
Zionist and Zionism also,
or at least stop banning the people that are doing less than the terrorists.
also refer to a political movement. Using the term to refer to the political movement, whether in a supportive or critical way, does not.
By the way, I'm not done. I am done pulling my punches. Like, these people, I'm calling them terrorists because that's what they are. If they are terrorists adjacent and they platform terrorists and defend the terrorists, I'm cool even with the platforming the terrorists. Cool with that even, as long as you're shitting all over them or, you know, trying to get them to our side, telling them they're wrong, having conversations. Sure, but don't fucking defend them and stop lying, saying that they're not when they are, chanting death to America as they're holding up AK-47s in a group. Like, you shitting me? No. Get out of here with that.
Not violate our hateful conduct policy. Our goal is not to stifle conversation about or criticism of an institution or ideology, but to prevent coded hate directed at individuals and groups of people. We include examples of the language we prohibit in our enforcement notes here. Despite the fact that all of this was already against the rules of Twitch on paper, I guess they felt the need to make it clear that Zionist is now a slur, instead of just banning the person responsible for it in the first place. It's very strange how Twitch wants to protect Hassan, because on one hand, I don't really like ad boycotts, but at the same time, Twitch is protecting this guy that's putting a lot of crazy shit on their platform, and even to this day, they refuse to get rid of him. It's really strange how they just have this attachment to this one guy. And Dan, in classic Dan fashion, would respond to this change saying essentially, too little, too late, El Bozo, Clancy step down now. Now, as this adpocalypse has been unfolding, a lot of people have taken note, right? I've covered it a decent amount on my streams over on the Tom Dark Live channel. Check it out. You're missing out if you're not. And a lot of other commentary channels have taken note, with one of them being one of Hassan's friends, Ludwig. He's a massive streamer on Twitch. At one point, I think he was the biggest streamer on Twitch, actually, in terms of sheer numbers, and obviously he's a very successful guy. He's got the Mogul Mail channel where he does commentary videos, and he decided to cover the adpocalypse over there. Ludwig uploaded what is happening to Twitch, and he discussed why advertisers were pulling out. Except, he didn't, actually. In this video, Ludwig straight up just lies. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Ludwig says that Asmongold's ban, because of his rant about Palestinians, was the domino that started this boycott to begin with. But he doesn't even mention Hassan or Twitch banning users from Israel. He won't even mention it whatsoever. Like, it's impressive how he manages to cover this entire situation and make it seem legit to an outsider who has no other context, who might not know what's going on.
But first, we have to talk about why they pulled out. Where did the advertisers go? Do they hate Twitch all of a sudden? Well, the genesis of this, as far as I can tell, is when Asmon got banned off of Twitch.
The Hassan glazing was so...
That was so bad. It was so bad. That was the worst move that Twitch could have made. Was banning people see him as the king of streaming, the one true king. It's like OTK was the thing, and you banned him over something that didn't even really matter to most people. He said something in an incorrect way, which, by the way, he still believes. He's just sorry that he said it out loud on Twitch.
So bad that even the top comments are all calling him out for this, and they're like, look, if you're gonna cover a situation with your...
And I ain't scared. I ain't backing down. Guess what? Palestinians, or whatever you want to call them, Gazans, they're garbage. They do have a lesser culture. They are inferior. I'm sorry. Fuck off. Fuck you.
Your friends, you need to at least tell the truth. Lud, you're better off not covering a topic if you have to tiptoe around so much stuff to avoid offending friends. Lud, buddy, if you were so against mentioning Hassan, why even make this video, man? He's literally at the center of the story. There's zero way to talk about it in good faith without covering his involvement. And yeah, they are right. The amount of covering that Ludwig does in this video perfectly illustrates how much power Hassan has in the Twitch community. Even a massive streamer like Ludwig is terrified to remotely say anything negative about Daddy.
And you want to know what else? You want to know what else? Israel's inferior too. Fuck Israel also.
Zaddy. Twitch is very much like a high school in that regard. It's basically a popularity contest, and if you aren't in with the cool kids, you're basically fucked. Hassan, in this instance, is what the fellas call the group leader, or Sigma, and nobody will ever call out the group leader, ever. Ludwig, if you're watching this, I feel like in the future, the best strategy would be, if you're gonna make a video about situations that involve your friends, you have to actually tell the story accurately, even if you want to defend them for their decisions. If you don't want to cover the story accurately, you just don't have to talk about it. If Hassan is your friend and you have a personal connection and you don't want to shit on him, fair enough, I get it. But you can't cover the story and misrepresent what's happening. That kind of betrays the 4 pillars of journalism, I would say. Now, Ethan Klein would also make his own video calling out
Ludwig
about how much he was glazing, and Ethan has been increasingly frustrated, seemingly, with how it seems like top streamers don't care about what's going on Twitch.
Okay, you ban Asmon for saying this thing about Palestinian people, but, you know, what about this person saying this thing about this people? And that...
What? This person saying this about these people? Did you just yada, yada, yada the whole anti-Semitism thing to protect...
Yeah, he wanted to say Hassan, but he couldn't. He couldn't say Hassan. because then Clancy he'd be on his bad side and he'd take him down. He don't want that. He's got to protect that pot of honey.
Your friend Hassan. How about having a Houthi militant on Twitch mainstream to talk about One Piece and to glaze up his fucking little Houthi cock?
The glazing would not stop there, though. After a few hours, people began to notice a part of Ludwig's video was mysteriously missing. Further investigation into the Wayback Machine revealed that Ludwig had actually cut out the one part of his video where he mentioned Hassan. He wasn't even talking about Hassan in a negative light. He wasn't even shitting on him. He was just saying that objectively, Mizkif very, very slightly called out Hassan, and he removed that.
Right, so there's currently in Twitch world a piss match, right? Hassan is blaming Asmongold for the adpocalypse for teaming up with people who he says started it. Mizkif is blaming Hassan, saying that everyone who does politics should be outright banned. And Asmon is
looking at me and blaming me. I want to say you're welcome.
Taking blame himself and probably talking about DEI again for the 100th time.
Yeah, I've heard Asmongold like talking about a pissing match where Asmongold's blaming Hassan, Hassan's blaming Asmongold. No, Hassan is blaming Asmongold and taking no blame. And Asmongold is like, fuck you, it's both of us, I'm taking us all out.
If I had to guess.
This is one of the most insane sweeps I've ever seen in my entire life.
There's currently in Twitch world a piss match, right? Hassan is blaming Asmongold for the adpocalypse for teaming up with people who he says, and Asmon is
looking at me and blaming me. I want to say you're welcome.
Taking blame himself. And probably talking about DEI again for the 100th time.
Like, this video was barely even critical of Hassan at all. The entire thing he's saying is that he thinks all political streamers should be banned, and then when asked if that included Hassan, he said yes.
I personally just wish politics were permanently banned off Twitch. I really do. I think a lot of stress and a lot of problems would be gone if they're just like, hey, you want to be political? Get off the website. You want to be a political boy? Go to Twitter. Don't do it here anymore. I swear. I think all political streamers should be banned. If you're
I'm cool with that, actually. I'm super cool with that. Go back to being a gaming platform. That's what it started as, really. I mean, not really, but Twitch. What Twitch started as, not just in TV. What Twitch started as was a gaming platform. I remember when they wouldn't allow people on Twitch to stream because they weren't a gaming show. Like the WAN show from Linus Tech Tips, they weren't allowed to stream on Twitch for a while because they weren't gaming related until they convinced them that, hey, we are gaming related, we're tech related, we are a gaming show. So they accepted. I remember that because I am a WAN show watcher and have been for a long time.
If you're really political, then get off. Because if we can't handle it with the ad, if it's going to affect ad revenue for everybody, it's going to ruin the website. You might as well do it anyway. You have to. You have to. Hassan gets banned. If it affects every content creator losing ad revenue, which also might affect the entirety of Twitch, Hassan should get banned. Absolutely.
Now, this was probably a joke on Mizkif's part, but regardless of that, like, why take it out? Why? The one time you mention Hassan in this entire thing, you take it out? Really? But if you want to play a little bit of conspiracy speculation, maybe the reason why he refused to call out Twitch is because he recently insinuated that he could be moving back to Twitch from YouTube, so, you know, that could explain some of it. Now, another big streamer, Pirate Software, would tweet out a big wall of text that I'm not going to read out in full, but essentially...
I will. There was no Twitch adpocalypse. The reason people are seeing no ad revenue for the last 2 days is because none of us ever have. Twitch calculates ad revenue for a stream 3-4 days later, which has always been the case. It shows as no ad revenue until that calculation is done. Only Twitch Turbo revenue is shown immediately in terms of ad rev displayed. The reason some streamers are seeing reduced ad fill rates was because of their content and tags. If you had a tag with sexual or political themes of any kind, you stopped getting ad fill.
Where Pirate Software would tweet out a big wall of text.
This is also normal on any other platform and now enforced by Twitch haphazardly through the tagging system. Tags are shit at this and led to a lot of splash damage because they don't take into account context. This used to be done by content category, so the tag change is absolutely new. We've seen this tested by streamers removing their tags and immediately getting ad rev back again.
Text that I'm not.
An adpocalypse would denote that this is happening to everyone on the platform. It's not. Our income is exactly the same for this time of year as it ever has been. Don't have political or sexual content on your stream category or tags and nothing changes. There are a lot of people blowing this up to be something massive when legit nothing is going on, and all of the cases provided is either normal behavior or misused or mistargeted tags. It's always a lot of people suddenly discovering how ad revenue works on the platform.
Not gonna read out in full.
This is all stuff I've worked with and understood for years. It's literally how we fund the Ferret Rescue, which is run entirely on ads. If I didn't know how this worked, none of our business would function. No amount of bitching will make this untrue. Except that he said himself that this is not true. He said himself, if we think the adpocalypse is here, then it is here. If we keep saying that this is not the adpocalypse, then there will not be an adpocalypse. And that is cope. That is hard cope.
But essentially what he's saying is actually there is no adpocalypse and your content is just not fresh enough to really make money, or alternatively the revenue doesn't appear for a certain amount of days, which in fairness he could be slightly correct about some of these things because, you know, he is a Twitch streamer. People do tend to overcorrect when an ad boycott happens and blame everything on the ads pulling out instead of their content, but I think that no matter what, it is undeniable that despite whatever he's bringing up here, there is objectively an adpocalypse going on. Like, you can just Google it. It is happening. Major companies have pulled out. This is not a subjective thing. This is not like an up in the air thing. This is happening.
Yeah, he's coping. He's coping and lying because he doesn't want it to happen, and he's just pretending that it's not. And maybe he's not seeing it. Maybe he's not seeing it because Twitch has been sucking his dick ever since he started posting shorts on YouTube. Like, ever since he got discovered. They love him. They absolutely love him. He's exactly what they want.
Dan would reply to this tweet chain saying, "You seem pretty confident. You blocked my streaming Twitter, so here you go. $1,000 bet to any charity you want. I can prove to DigiDay staff that 10 plus Fortune 500 advertisers and agencies have pulled out, and normal streamers' revenues have been hurt." And that's maybe the saddest thing, that a lot of normal streamers are being affected by this who aren't even involved. And Hassan, they're just trying to, you know, make their own content, go their own way, like the stocks guy, and they're being punished for this behavior. And ultimately, Twitch refuses to fix the situation, unfortunately. And while I'm not in favor of ad boycotts, and even this one I'm kind of like iffy on, because once again, you know, slippery slope encouragement of culture, I don't really like that. At the same time, Twitch refuses to do anything about the biggest guy on their platform. Like, I hate the word platforming, but he literally had a terrorist on his stream. What else can I say? Now, Dan then links an article talking about all the advertisers pulling out, and a few hours later, Pirate Software would make an update tweet not acknowledging the bet that Dan had made, but he did slightly concede on his point. Talked to Devin Nash on a stream about the entire thing, and we found an interesting middle ground. As content creators, we cannot see any damage being done yet, as per the data I presented above. As someone who works directly with advertisers, at Devin Nash can see there's a high chance of damage going forward based on current trends. Both things are true. Always diversify your content. Now, most recently, Dan...
I will agree with that. I will agree with that. Diversify your content, and also, not everybody's seeing it affecting them the same way. Especially bigger streamers.
Not Dan Clancy, but Dan Saltman, the rabbi, has been banned on Twitch, which makes sense. I mean, he did literally start the crusade against them, but it's still funny to see this megacorp ban him, is just like out of spite in a childish way, like, screw you, man. Hassan also recently made an official top 10 list, guys. This is huge. He finally made it. All right, I'm proud of him. I've been watching him for a long time, so let's see what it is. Oh, shockingly, he didn't make the top 10 people that have visited an alleged sex trafficking brothel that was raided by police. I guess that case is still in ongoing litigation, so his top 10 award for that is currently pending, weirdly. No, this year, in our great year of 2024, Hassan has finally made it on the top 10 anti-Semite of the year finalists. Yippee! Hooray! All right, hopefully next year I can make it. I knew you could do it, though. I know you could do it. You're putting up those numbers, big guy. J's up. J's up. J's up. Now, in my previous video about Hassan, I said that, at the end of the day, the fact that someone like Hassan, who openly sympathizes with terrorists and violates multiple Twitch rules, can continue to stream without being banned shows that Twitch won't take action against him unless there's a significant public backlash. And even then, the bias is so blatant that it seems Twitch doesn't even care that everyone notices. When Asmongold was banned, and to be clear, I understand why he was banned, the issue with it is Twitch was inconsistent. I don't want Hassan or Asmongold to be banned. I think you should be able to say the wild shit that you want, but if Twitch wants to play by a certain group of rules, then let's play ball. They should have banned Hassan multiple times at this point. And somehow, even after this entire nuclear adpocalypse that could literally sink Twitch as we know it, this is still not enough for them to get rid of him. Even today, articles are still being written detailing everything Hassan has.
I think they're waiting for it all to blow over, and I don't think it's gonna. I think they're gonna double down and ban even more people that maybe should be banned, but still not gonna ban the people who actually deserve to be banned. And we're gonna start seeing people move. They're gonna be leaving because people are gonna start tagging Twitch with terrorism in their minds, especially through these 4 years we're about to have with Trump. It's about to get real bad. Because I don't think our government, the way it's headed, is going to allow this to keep operating in our country. An anti-American company like Twitch in America, not happening.
is done, Fox News has picked up on it. Like, it's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. If this isn't the most blatant proof that Twitch is compromised from the top down, I don't know what is. At this point, Hassan could literally stream himself running over people on the street, and I don't think Twitch would ban him. So unless Dan Clancy gets fired or Twitch gets a complete corporate restructuring from the inside, Hassan will remain unbanned, and he will continue to be the reason that Twitch's adpocalypse is still going on.
Hey, I found this streamer the other day streaming some sort of propaganda. I reported him, but nothing was done about it so far. Love the music, by the way.
Thank you, Ria Kwan. Thanks for reporting. Not sure who it was, but thanks a lot. All right, how about...
Appreciate it, and please bring this to Twitch support.
Airy Summer, yeah. I've reached out several times, but just seems to have zero response. I even checked, and the Houthis are U.S. designated terrorist group, but maybe they have a lot on their plate, I don't know.
Bye.
Would you look at that? Yo, how about that? The Houthis are a registered terrorist group. And Hassan is out there defending them. And saying that they're not a terrorist group, even though they 100% fucking are. It's insane. It is insane. I'm not mad about it. This is actually hilarious to me. Because I've been waiting for this for years and years and years. All the gambling and all the porn that's on Twitch, and they're just deny. Oh, you're just, I don't know, right-wing extremist. You're a Nazi. You're wanting to control everybody's behavior. I'm just glad to see it all burn to the ground. And they're just using themselves as the fuel.